snap. There's the kick. It's gone. Oh my gosh. The kick is gone.
Boston Sports Nerds present Joe's Fantasy Field Goal.
What's up, champs? Almost. Some of you probably champs. Some of you still competing in stupid fucking leagues that have Week 17 championship leagues. In a perfect world, that would all end Week 16, because there are some stupid leagues out there that still run Week 17. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here today, because there are stupid leagues that still run Week 17. And I'm here to give you one last bit of fantasy football advice so that you can win your stupid Week 17 championship league. The rest of you might already be champs. If you've listened to me and played Antonio Gates, I know he had a touchdown. If you were weak at tight end, that probably helped you. What about, Keelan Cole got hurt. I played Keelan Cole, so, I ended up finishing second place. I didn't win any leagues this year. 0. Zippo. I won 2 last year. I didn't win any this year. And, hey, I did finish second in 1. And in the playoffs in pretty much all of the others. But you can't win them all, But I'm here to help you win this week. If you are still viable, if you are still playing in the championship round, and you are looking for that hot fantasy advice, I have some QB streamers. I have some defensive streamers. I have a very small waiver wire wonder because really, normally Week 17, the waiver wire wonder can be pretty hectic because some teams are resting, some teams have everything locked up and they're just resting their guys. Just from the looks of it, I don't see a case where everyone would rest their guys. The Pats might rest their guys after halftime if the lead is in 100% in control, but I doubt that. I mean, maybe. They are playing the Jets. But I would imagine that only happens if the lead is well in hand, and if that happens, that means some of your guys probably already put points up. The same with the Steelers, might rest their guys. They're playing the Browns if that game gets out of hand. But again, that probably means that your guys already scored. So, I think the Eagles are still going to play their game. I don't think they're going to rest anyone. I think everyone is so close that they're all competing for something at this point. And I'm not expecting to see a lot of people rested. So, it's kind of a smaller waiver wire wonder this week. But we'll get right into it with quarterback streamers right now.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong?
Alright, so first on the list for quarterback streamers, we have Matthew Stafford. I did this thing where I didn't write down who the fuck they play. I know Matt Stafford plays Green Bay, which is why he is worthy of streaming a quarterback, because Green Bay is not good on defense. Matter of fact, Green Bay is not any good at all without Aaron Rodgers. So I'm expecting the Lions to deal with Green Bay pretty handsomely. And I think Matt Stafford will be perfectly fine. I like him as a streamer. Next we have Case Keenum. He is facing Chicago. I'm kind of looking this up as I go. Chicago, middle of the pack defense. I think Case Keenum is a good start. He's been a good quarterback all year, and I think he's been just good enough where that not everyone where he's not going to tank your team, but not so great that he's on everyone's team. So he should be available in some leagues, and I think he's a worthy play. Next, we have Jacoby Brissett and the Colts. I do not know who the Colts are playing. It's someone really bad. That's why I picked Jacoby Brissett. Let me look up who the Colts are playing. NFL Week 17. I usually write this down. The Colts are playing the Texans. And the Texans defense is bad. Without Boye there still, and with both their pass rushers are out for the year, I think. No, Clowney's there, I think. But Watt's gone. I mean, the Texans defense just hasn't been good, especially in the secondary. So I think Brissett will have a good game. He has his ups and downs, but he seems to take advantage of bad defenses, and the Texans are a bad defense. So I like Jacoby Brissett versus Houston. Next we have Kirk Cousins and the Washington Redskins. They are playing the loading screen. The Washington Redskins are playing the New York Giants again. If you want to talk about a defense that should have been good and isn't very good, especially in the secondary, you were talking about the New York Giants. And I think Kirk Cousins, as good as he's been this year, will be very good against a bad defense in the New York Giants. And would not be surprised at all if he gets the job done for you. Nick Foles is the next guy on the list. He should definitely be available. I've been running with him multiple weeks. I know he had a bad week this week, but this week he takes on the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys, while they have been playing good on defense sometimes, most of the time they aren't. And especially in that weak fucking secondary. So, Nick Foles, I'm expecting him to return to the 4-touchdown Nick Foles. Really, I'm expecting him to kind of be somewhere in the middle of the 4-touchdown Nick Foles and the 1-touchdown Nick Foles, and I expect him to get 2 or 3 touchdowns and like a 260-something yard game. But yes, Nick Foles I like as a streamer this week. Next we have Blake Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Since we are talking about really bad defenses, sorry, they are taking on the Tennessee Titans, who are horrendous on defense and have been all year. And Blake Bortles had a terrible game last week against a very bad defense, but he has up until that night going up against a red-hot San Francisco 49ers team. We'll get to them in a second. He had looked pretty fucking good, and I'm expecting him to have a bounce-back game, hopefully, against another bad defense. They should win this game, and they should get a good performance out of Blake Bortles. So I like Blake Bortles this week. And speaking of the red-hot San Francisco 49ers, the last quarterback streamer, and my favorite quarterback streamer since he's become the starting quarterback, and that is Jimmy GQ, Jimmy Garoppolo. He is playing the Rams. Yes, I know, the Rams actually have a pretty fucking good defense. Not great, not amazing, but pretty fucking good. And, you know who has an even better defense than the Rams? The fucking Jacksonville Jaguars. You know what Jimmy Garoppolo did to the Jacksonville Jaguars? Oh, not much. He only hung up, 40-plus points on them. Jimmy GQ is the real deal, and that nickname is the bee's knees. And I'm expecting Jimmy GQ Do you remember when was it the Rams and then the 49ers who played that Thursday night game that was a fucking shootout? It's a super high scoring game, one of the best Thursday night football games we've seen in a long time. Yeah, now they have an even better quarterback. If Jimmy GQ wins this game, he will be 5-0? Yeah, 5-0 as the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. He'll actually have one more win than the 49ers have had in the past year and a half before he became quarterback. Yeah, Jimmy G is the real deal. I've been, shouting his praises from the rooftops on this show. Especially Marquise Goodwin's praises. If Jimmy G is active and Marquise Goodwin has been as good as it gets, Jimmy G has been as good as it gets. And I love him against the Rams. I think he should show the fuck out against them. And that's the last quarterback streamer, and I saved the best for last. So if you can get Jimmy Garoppolo, go get Jimmy Garoppolo. Next, we have the defensive streamers. There's a lot of good matchups on this week for potential good defenses. Some good defensive points in your fucking dumb championship round. First on the list, we have New Orleans at the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston looked really good last week, but he is a fucking walking turnover. And New Orleans defense has looked much better since last year. They actually have some decent cornerback play. It's amazing. I never thought I would see a New Orleans secondary like this. So I like the New Orleans against the Bucs. That's kind of like if you really need a defense. They're probably my least favorite out of the ones I have here. Next we have Seattle versus Arizona. Seattle is dinged up, banged up. They've looked shitty. They just look pretty good against the Cowboys. They're playing an Arizona team that's helmed by Blaine Gabbert. So I'm not expecting a huge amount of points to be scored. And I think that helps your baseline with Seattle's defense, and they're always good at grabbing some turnovers, some sacks, and forcing some fumbles. So I like Seattle's defense. I like that defense more than New Orleans. Next we have San Diego. They are playing Oakland. Oakland has looked fucking terrible. Fucking terrible. I cannot believe this is the same Oakland Raiders team. It is fucking mind-boggling that they are almost identical. They added Marshawn Lynch. They still have Derek Carr, and they just cannot get the job done at all this year. It's amazing. It shows you that the window of opportunity for being good in the NFL is about a millimeter big. And if you have to capitalize when you're good, and if you don't, then you're fuck off. And it really makes what the Pats are doing fucking amazing, because sustained success is almost impossible in this league. And I know there's a lot of Philadelphia fans who are real hyped about their future with Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz is a really, 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 really good quarterback. I do. But he just got hurt. And just because you had a really fucking good year this year does not mean that next year, pick up where you left off. Philadelphia's fucking 14-2 and they're back in the playoffs. That shit just doesn't happen in the NFL. There are teams that have sustained success. Pittsburgh is always pretty good. New England, obviously, always pretty good. Seattle has been predominantly, for the last 5 or 6 years, a very good team. And think about that. When's the last time the Steelers won a fucking Super Bowl? It's been a while. Seattle, it's been a while. New England was last year, but they're the outlier. Atlanta was really fucking good last year. They were one of the best teams in football. And what are they this year? They're a fringe playoff team. And Matt Ryan is instantly falling back down to earth. The fucking margin of error and the window of opportunity, and Green Bay might never win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, and he's the best quarterback, or the second best quarterback in the NFL. He's definitely top 2, And they might never win another one with him. Because their window of opportunity is about the size of a peanut. I'm sorry, this is a little rant, but that is fucking amazing to me. Phillip Rivers been in this league forever. He had LaDainian Tomlinson, he had Antonio Gates. That team was geared the fuck up, and they never won. Never won a Super Bowl. The Giants made the fucking playoffs last year and were talked about. They made it in the wild card, and people were saying they were going to run the table and make the Super Bowl. That's how much people believed in that Giants team. And guess what? They're the second worst team in the NFL this year. Fucking turn around like that. Boom. Turned around. You suck now. It is amazing. It's amazing how small it is. And this is all a rant to tell you how bad Oakland's been and why I think you can play the San Diego Chargers defense against them. And I know it's a long-winded rant just to tell you that San Diego, who's had a pretty fucking good defense the past couple weeks, is running into a subpar Oakland team. So you should play them. But I just had to get that off my chest because it's fucking true. It's true. You're here one day, you're gone the next day in the NFL, and just no one gives a fuck. And it really does show how fucking dominant New England has been over this 15-year stretch where they've just been the best team in football constantly. And it's amazing that they can keep it going with all the turnover. The only thing that hasn't had turnover is Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and those two get the job done no matter who else is on the team. Moving on. Next on the list is Jacksonville at Tennessee. Tennessee, their offense is pretty good. Their defense is awful. Jacksonville's defense, although they just ran into the fucking piping hot Jimmy GQ, Jacksonville's defense is still amazing, and I'm expecting them to run through Tennessee. And the thing is, Jacksonville might be available now because they just got bodied by Jimmy GQ. Some people might, throw them away because they're scared. If that happens, fucking scoop those motherfuckers up. Jacksonville is still the best defense in the NFL. And Tennessee is nothing that's scary at all. So, if Jacksonville is available on your waiver wire, they should be your top priority in this week, or on this week's defensive streamers, except maybe... Oh, actually, I don't know. The next two are really good pickups. New England is playing the Jets in New England. Bryce Petty is the quarterback. Need I say more? You have Bill Belichick going up against Bryce Petty. And I know New England's defense hasn't looked the best, but Bryce Petty has never looked good, and he won't start looking good against New England defense. I promise you that. So, New England, if they're available, I really like them. Next, we have Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. Cleveland, as I predicted, will go defeated this year. They will go 0-16, and they will lose this game to Pittsburgh. Just like I thought, Pittsburgh still has stuff on the line to play for. There's still a chance, if New England loses to the Jets, that Pittsburgh could take the number 1 seed. So, they will play their guys and make sure the Cleveland game is well in hand, and Cleveland doesn't fucking stand a chance against Pittsburgh. They don't. Cleveland hasn't stood a chance against anyone. They've looked awful all year, and I'm sure fucking Aaron and Dave will pick Cleveland in the pick'ems this week, and I'll get another free point because Cleveland fucking sucks. They're the worst team in football history. Now definitely they're in a fucking class all to themselves, along with the Detroit Lions from however long ago. So you definitely start the defense that has to play that fucking dumpster fire in Cleveland, and that is Pittsburgh this week. And then the last two defensive streamers are Minnesota versus Chicago. Chicago, again, they're an okay offense. They don't scare me. They're not going to put up a lot of points. So Minnesota has a really good baseline. They're one of the best defenses in the NFL. They'll force turnovers. They'll get sacks. They'll force fumbles. I like Minnesota versus Chicago. And last, we have Detroit. They are playing Green Bay. Like I said, Green Bay might have one of the worst rosters in the NFL without Aaron Rodgers. There's no chance that they even come close to beating this Detroit team. If Detroit decides to show up, I think they will. It's at home. I think Detroit will mop the floor with Green Bay. Jacoby Brissett couldn't. He passed the ball fucking 40 times and didn't even have 20 completions. It's insane. Detroit should win that game easily. And Brett Hundley. Did I say Jacoby Brissett? I did. Brett Hundley. I'm really sorry, Jacoby Brissett. Brett Hundley passed the ball 40 times and couldn't even get 20 completions. Detroit should fucking walk through that team and get you some fantasy defensive points. And now we will move on to waiver wire wonders and wrap up this week because it's the last week of Joe's fantasy field goal, guys. It's been wonderful talking to you all. I will have another podcast coming out for the network soon. I will probably take a break for a couple weeks, not a long time. Get all of that new podcast stuff up in order. I have the idea. I have the tools I need. I just need, intro music and some stuff like that. But I will have a new podcast for you guys, not fantasy sports related, in the least bit. But it's been a blast doing fantasy field goal with you guys. Next year it might be back. I'm thinking about doing it in the form of a column instead of a podcast, because a podcast is a lot more work to do all the audio editing and stuff like that. And I feel like I could relay this information in a column to you. Although in a column you won't get such spicy rants as the window of opportunity in the NFL rant. But who knows? But it's been a blast, and we will finish up with waiver wire wonders, and then we are out. So let's move on to that right now.
And I wonder if you know the wonder of it all.
All right, and for your waiver wire wonders, like I said, normally week 17 waiver wire wonders are you want to get a lot of backup running backs or backup wide receivers because teams that already have shit locked up rest a bunch of their players. This year, it feels like that's not going to happen. It feels like there's a lot of teams that still have shit on the line. I can't think of any team off the top of my head that's just willingly going to rest people. Maybe there will be some, but I don't know. I feel like there won't be. So I only have 3 for you. But I do think, I'll add a 4th right now. I do think John Connor from the Steelers, if he is available, is worth owning if you're the Lev Bell owner. Even if you're not the Lev Bell owner, if you are projected to get your ass kicked in this week 17, and your running backs are terrible, John Connor might be a worthy play. They're playing Cleveland, and they might rest Lev Bell after the first half. John Connor could go in there, and they could just run the clock out. He could get fucking 30 carries and a half. I do think he's worth a pickup if he's available. He should be available. Other than him, Peyton Barber, I've said his name like the past 4 weeks. The starting running back for Tampa Bay. He hasn't been amazing, but he's been getting double-digit touches for 50-plus yards just about every week. Who knows when he could have a huge week. He's worth having on your roster, especially if you're weak at running back. And maybe playing this week. Who do they play again? Tampa Bay. They play New Orleans. Their pass defense has been good. You could probably run. I like Peyton Barber. Next we have Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates or Eric Ebron, either one if they're available. I told you last week Antonio Gates would catch a touchdown, would be a good pickup because Hunter Henry's out. I think Hunter Henry is still out, therefore Antonio Gates is still a good pickup. It's Phillip Rivers' favorite guy. Same with Eric Ebron. Detroit's playing Green Bay. Eric Ebron has really come on lately. He's been getting his targets up, getting his catches up. He just had a good week last week, and versus a subpar Green Bay defense, I'm expecting him to have another pretty fucking good week. And last on the list is Jakeem Grant, wide receiver Sorry. Cough button. Wide receiver for Miami. He has been getting more involved in the offense every week for the past 3 weeks. He had a touchdown against New England. He had a touchdown last week for Miami. And last week he had a 4 reception for 107 yard and a touchdown game. This is another fucking big-time flyer guy, maybe in the flex. If you're really projected to lose or something like that, if you're the big-time underdog in that matchup, you're just trying to take flyers, see if anyone can hit a home run for you. Jakeem Grant might be that home run guy. They are playing Buffalo, and he is probably the third receiver that will be covered there. So I don't think you have to worry about any top defensive backs from Buffalo. I recorded this podcast earlier. I guess it wouldn't be a Joe's Fantasy Field Goal if I didn't yawn, but I'm not tired at all. It's like the moment I put this headset on, I start yawning. For no reason. But that's it, guys. That's all I have for Waiver Wire Wonders. Those 3, 4, I added Eric Ebron and John Connor. That's it. I mean, at this point, if you're in the championship game, you play the guys who got you there. I think they're all going to play. Normally, Week 17 can kind of be murky to navigate because of people sitting and shit like that. I don't think it's going to affect this year. It looks like every team's going to play their guys. I haven't heard anything about people resting or anything like that. So just play the guys who got you to the championship game. And stick with those QB streamers and defensive streamers and win your championship. And if you are listening to this and you won your championship last week, or you win your championship this week, go to Facebook, follow the BS Nerds, or the B.S.N network on Facebook, follow the page, and then share a picture of your final outcome of your game, your championship match, with you being the winner. Post it up there for everyone to see. And for all of the BSN network and all the followers of the BS Nerds to see that you won your championship listening to Joe's Fantasy Field Goal. And I helped you get there. And we did it together. And that's it, guys. It's been a hell of a ride. I will see you next year in some form or another, whether it's article form, whether it's podcast form. The Fantasy Field Goal will not be gone. It will be back. And I will be starting a new podcast within the next couple weeks. Should I give you what it is? Or no, we'll save it. When it's closer to being launched, I'll announce it. I will tell you it's a music show. It's not fantasy football. I will be doing music stuff. As you guys know, I'm the guy who handles most of the music and sound for the BSN network. I did a lot of the intros. Between me and Dave, we've done all of the intros together. So music is like one of my other favorite things. And so I'm going to be doing a music show next. And it's nice because I won't have a hard deadline like Monday nights or Tuesday nights like I do with the NFL. I can kind of stockpile stuff. But you'll hear more about that soon. Thank you guys for listening to Field Goal all year. I love you guys, and I'll see you next year. Adios, amigos.